Hello my friends, and once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're back out here in TRO once again on the Fallow Deer Great One grind, and what we're going to be doing today is a Fallow Deer Great One guide. I'm going to cover absolutely everything. This covers finding your drink zones, getting set up, using herd management, spawning absolute tons of diamonds just like this. This is diamond 43, I believe. I've lost track at this point. We're going to go ahead and take him down real quick right here at the beginning of the video. Absolutely dropped him. Drop that one too. Real quick guys, if you do end up finding today's video helpful, go ahead, go down there, let me know. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, drop them all in the comment section below. Also feel free to join the Discord server, the link is down there in the description. It's a great place to ask questions. There are literal hundreds of people in there who would be more than willing to help you out. Alright, let's go ahead and see what he's gonna score. 251.99. That's diamond number 3 of the day. Absolutely beautiful diamond. Also guys, if you haven't already, I'd highly recommend going down there, smashing that like button and subscribing, as it is the #1 thing that can help out with the YouTube channel. And last but definitely not least here today guys, as always, a huge shout out to our members. They are on screen right now. If you guys want to join the membership, you guys can click that join button down there to the right of where it shows my profile picture and my YouTube username. It is only $1.99 a month. You guys can get things like guided diamond hunts, whether you play on PlayStation or not. And it is genuinely highly appreciated. We did just lower it to $1.99 a month. It used to be $4.99 a month. So along with lowering the price, we also added more perks so you can get more things for a cheaper price. Highly recommend at least going and checking it out. All the money goes right back into the YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much, and without further ado, let's dive right in. Alrighty guys, so the very first thing, along with any Great One grind that you're going to be doing, unless it's tar, because tar don't drink, is going to be the most challenging thing. It's really not that hard at all, it's just kind of time consuming. It's going to take you several hours, and that is going to be finding your drink zones. Now I'm going to go into depth and show you guys exactly how to find your drink zones for the fallow grind here in just a minute once I claim this deer. Now essentially what you guys are going to want to do is search every single water source in this circle that I'm about to make for you guys, along with the coast here. So starting from this muddy spot on the river, this right here is a fallow zone. That's as high up as you're ever going to find fallow. So starting from here, the circle would come down like this. You guys are going to want to search everything on the right hand side of this lake and up here as well on the upper left hand side of this lake. Circle's going to keep going this way and come down to right here. You guys can search all the way up in here. These are both fallow zones right here. All three of these are fallow zones. Circle's going to keep going like this. Search all down the pier here, all down the coast. Those are all fallow zones right there. All up the coast into there, all down the coast into there, up into here. A huge hotspot's going to be up here, so the circle is going to continue from here up to here. And it's going to turn really sharp there, and this right here is the only fallow zone that you should have on this lake. Now, our zones aren't going to be in the exact same spot. This is another lake that you guys should definitely search. It's a great fallow hotspot. I just don't have any zones there because I blew them all out. So quite literally search every single water source in this circle that I'm making right now. I'm going to circle it a few times just so you guys can know. I want to make sure 100% that you guys are finding all of your fallow zones. You should have 45 to 50 fallow zones in the end once you've searched every single water source. Now, you guys should definitely set it to fallow deer drink time, because if you don't, then you're not going to find any deer at all. It says that they start drinking at 10, but I recommend setting it to 11:45. The fallow just don't come into their zones as efficiently as any other grind. I found that it's actually the worst. For example, I was setting it to 10:45 instead of 11:45 for the first few weeks of my grind, and I've recently started setting it to 11:45, and I've increased my kills per hour by over 30. So quite literally, you guys can increase your kills per hour by 30% as long as you're grinding efficiently and you set it to 11:45. But the only downside to that is the fact that you're not going to have as much time to finish your rotation as if you set it to 10:30. But either way, it's probably going to add up, because if you set it to 10:30, your deer aren't going to all be in their zones till somewhere around 11:25 to 11:45. Therefore, you should definitely set it to 11:45. Now don't go anywhere just yet guys, because we're going to cover setting up with tents and tripods, using herd management, and just overall the best weapons to use for the fallow grind, and in the end, how to grind fallow efficiently, get that great one, along with an absolute pile of diamonds out as soon as possible. Me personally, I'm pushing somewhere around 3,000 kills. I've lost track around 2,500. We gotta be getting close to 50 diamonds by now. The last diamond that I think I actually kept track of was around 40. We've shot 4 diamonds today in total, along with an albino. The albino level 3 was the very first animal we spotted in this morning's live stream. Quite literally the very first deer we spotted. Now, in order to tell if you found all your drink zones or not, there isn't a set number. Like I said, the average throughout my community has been 45 to 50. Now, TRO is definitely the map that you should be doing it in, because all the zones are very wide open. and it's very easy to efficiently hunt them. In order to tell if you found all your drink zones or not, essentially what I want you guys to do is pick a drink zone, preferably a drink zone that has a deer with a minimum estimate of 150 or above. We're going to get into herd management and what types of deer to shoot later in the video, so just stay tuned for that, guys. Now, if there's 2 deer in the zone, what I want you guys to do is go ahead and shoot both of them. Reset the time back to 11:45 a.m. the next day, leave the game, come back in, and when you get there, if the 2 deer that you shot are gone and there's only females in the zone, or if the 1 deer that you shot is gone and there's only females left in the zone, then you have more drink zones defined. The reason for that is because you're not getting respawns, and the whole point of finding drink zones is to make sure that you get respawns into the zones that you're choosing to shoot from. If you shot 2 deer and you come back and there's 1 male in the zone, that's also okay, you're getting respawns. Sometimes I find I'll shoot 2 deer out of each zone, sometimes I'll go back, there'll be 1 deer to shoot, sometimes I come back, there's 2, sometimes there's 3, it really just depends, but I would definitely highly recommend shooting 2 deer out of each zone if possible. And again, if you have no males there and your zones are just filling with females, and you're just not getting respawns in general, then you need more drink zones. So what I'm doing when I search for my drink zones, guys, is I'm just running along the coast of every single water source that I showed you guys. In that circle, oh look at that, another potential diamond. That might have been Spine, but I am 0 to 164 and he's about 250 meters away, so I mean it really could have been anything. I'm not even fully sure if that's a diamond or not. Its minimum estimate doesn't look very promising. When looking for drink zones, you guys definitely don't have to do it all at once. I try to do mine in different game sessions, meaning that I'll go look for drink zones for an hour, go do something else, come back, look for more drink zones for an hour, and then just repeat that process until eventually I find all of them. See, is he gonna make diamond or is he a troll? 254.72, absolutely massive diamond. Another beautiful trophy. That's diamond 5 or 4 of the day, I don't even remember now. And other than that, I believe I covered just about everything drink zone wise. If you guys have any questions, again, let me know down below or join the Discord server. If you guys want a hotspot map showing exactly where I have all my zones at, it's kind of self-explanatory because you guys can see all my tents and tripods. But really, if you want a detailed hotspot map, join the Discord, mention the moderation team, and we will get you a file to your hotspot map as soon as possible. And without further ado, my friends, let's go ahead and dive into setting up with tents and tripods. So guys, setting up with tents and tripods is actually a very easy process. It's just slightly confusing and a lot of people overthink it. And what I'm going to do here today for you guys is I'm going to show you guys my setups personally and try to make it as easy for you guys to understand as possible. I'm going to be using this zone right here, or these zones right here, to show you guys how you should be setting up with your tents and tripods. Now what I did is I set a tent right here in the middle, before I was set up herd management wise. What I did is I shot down these 2 zones right here. And the only 2 zones that actually ended up being shooter zones after I herd managed the zones that are up here was this zone right here, which is still a shooter zone for me, it's a main shooter zone, and this zone right here, which I now have shot down to 150s and below. Essentially what I did is I placed my tent right here, right over there, 300 yards that way, and about 10 yards in front of it. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys how far you should be placing the tents from drink zones and things like that here in just a minute. I placed the tripod like 10 yards in front of it, so that way I have a clear shooting angle at that zone, which is this zone that we're standing on right now, and then from that tripod I can shoot this zone, fast travel over here to this claim tent that I have placed down right in between this zone and this zone, because every now and then a shooter deer does pop into this zone, but it is very rare. That usually happens when you do something like shoot a female or some type of mistake like that. And overall, essentially what you guys are going to want to be doing is setting up with tents and tripods similar to the way that I just showed you. Now unfortunately it's not going to be identical for every single zone. In fact, it won't even be identical for you at this lake right here. What you're really going to need to do for every single zone, we'll use a different one for example, like this one here, you guys can see I have a tent over 250 yards away from my drink zone, which is spook radius. So when you spawn in, if your tent is closer than 250 yards to the zone, then the deer are gonna spook. So if you are fast traveling to your tent and the deer that are in your zone are spooking, what you're gonna wanna do is pick up your tent and move it a few yards back. But for this zone right here, I have my tent absolutely perfect. I believe it's somewhere around 260, 270 yards back. I have a tripod placed about 10 yards in front of it. Again, I prefer longer shots. The closest I could probably get it is right up on the water's edge, but really that's only like a 5-yard difference, so I don't really care. But I definitely recommend practicing your aim for quite some time on some deer. If you guys don't know where to shoot deer at, then really I would recommend watching a Call of the Wild beginner's guide before even attempting to get into grinding. And again, I repeat the exact same process. I fast travel to the tent, hop into the tripod, shoot the zone, have a claim tent placed. Now the reason I have this claim tent right here is because I used to have a drink zone right there, but I blew it out and thankfully it hasn't really came back yet. I believe the deer from that zone ended up going to this zone, but I'm repeating that same process, hopping over to the claim tent here and then claiming claiming my deer and moving on to the next zone, such as this one right here. Now, utilizing outposts is another great idea. For example, I saved one of the 16 tents because there's a 16 tent limit on every map, just by adding like 100 extra yards to my dash to be able to go claim this zone. So what I'm doing is fast traveling to this tent, hopping into this outpost. These are all solo zones right here that I have herd managed down. Shooting this zone, using this outpost to fast travel over to here, using this outpost, fast traveling to this outpost so that way I can claim this zone right here, and again, moving on to another zone, repeating the exact same process. You guys can see that all these zones are set up the same way, again right here, but this one's up in the trees, so I have a tree stand instead of a tripod. If you guys prefer to use ground blinds instead of tripods, you guys can definitely do that too. The reason that we use tripods is because when you shoot 3 deer out of 1 drink zone, that's a feral pig zone, my bad. When you shoot 3 deer out of 1 drink zone, the 4th deer will blow the zone out, and then the zone will vanish. With tripods, tree stands, or hunting structures in general, you guys can shoot 14 and the 15th will blow the drink zone. So it is definitely possible to grind without tents and tripods. Would I recommend it? 100% not. Y'all are going to be blowing out zones left and right, and it's just overall a genuinely terrible idea. I just don't recommend it at all. Real quick guys, I do just want to interrupt the video to ask of you one really quick thing. If you guys please can go down there, smash that like button, and subscribe. It is much appreciated as it does get the video pushed to more people just like you, and gives me the opportunity to help out more people just like you. Thank you guys, and without further ado, let's dive right back into the video. Now, I covered most everything on tents, at least everything you guys are going to need to know to get set up. There is some different methods and stuff that you guys can learn about, for example, like this zone here. Sometimes I'll have a male pop into this zone. It is very rare, but maybe I'll shoot a female on accident every now and then. It does happen, and a male does spawn into this zone every now and then, but it is usually just filled with females. What I do for that is I have a tent on top of this zone. When I fast travel to this zone, the deer that are in this zone won't spawn in. I'll shoot this zone, fast travel over to here with my claim tent, turn around, shoot whatever males in this zone, claim the deer that are here, fast travel back to here, claim whatever deer I just shot out of there, and then move on to the next zone. Other than that, that's really everything that you guys need to know about tents and tripods. Again, I definitely would not recommend grinding without tripods or any type of hunting structure. And last but 100% definitely not least here today guys, we are going to cover herd management. Now we're not going to cover absolutely everything about herd management. I've made several different how to spawn a great one with herd management guides. It's really the same process for every species, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the specifics about fallow in today's video and try to help anyone out that is trying to use herd management. So what herd management is essentially shooting the mid-level animals, which force spawn smaller animals onto the map, and then once your zones, your non-shooter zones, eventually fill up with small animals, your main shooter will start to fill up with bigger animals. This is what we call shooter animals, a minimum trophy score of 150 or above. Now it isn't proven yet that it actually helps spawn great ones faster, but what it does do is it'll spawn you bigger rares, more diamonds just more consistently in general. And it just makes the entire grind a million times more fun, because me personally, I'd like to consistently have diamonds, instead of just consistently shooting the same boring deer over and over again in hopes of a great one spawning, which either way is essentially what you're doing. The grind just is really not boring in general when you're using herd management. It adds a whole nother aspect to the grind because you can only shoot certain deer. Now for me, what I'm doing and how I got all my zones herd managed in a nutshell, found all my drink zones, did every process that I already explained here in today's video, and ran the coast multiple times, which you guys should have already done. And you guys should have found zones that look like this, random little zones along the coast that have one singular male in them, and what that is a solo zone. A solo zone is a zone with a single male in it. Could also be 2 males with no females. So if you find any zones like that that have small deer with a minimum trophy estimate of 150 or below, do not shoot that solo. As a minimum trophy estimate of 150 or above, then go ahead and shoot that solo. And essentially what you guys are going to want to do after you shoot all your solos that have a 150 or above is go ahead and jump in between all of your main shooter zones, which are the zones that have females and males in them, and shoot any deer that have a trophy estimate of 150 or below. So yes, shoot all of the small deer inside of your main shooter zones, and what that's going to do is hopefully it could just respawn as another small deer, therefore you'd shoot it again, and eventually 95% of the time it will respawn as a bigger male, and it gets to the point where you're just consistently shooting all the males inside of your zones that are 150s and above pretty consistently. Now every now and then a small male will pop into your zone and you're gonna have to shoot it so that way it'll respawn as a bigger male. I would recommend running the coast from this point right here all the way down to this point right here for the first few runs of your Great One grind. Now eventually it gets to the point where you don't even have to run the coast anymore, at least for me it did. I still do every now and then just because it's a smart idea. Solos can pop up anywhere at any time. And I would definitely rather be safe than sorry, because who knows, you could have a 10 fabled in a solo zone just somewhere random on your map. And as you're constantly running those zones, what you guys are going to want to be doing is again looking for any solos that have a minimum trophy estimate of 150 or above. If you find a solo that has a minimum trophy estimate of 150 or above, definitely shoot it, because that is a shooter deer that you guys are going to want to be shooting, and it's going to also help make sure that you're going to be consistently getting big enough deer into your drink zones. Now as you guys can see here, this is one of my main shooters, and it's filled up with small deer. Both of the deer that are always here have turned into a 101 and a 120, so all I'm going to do is shoot these, and I come back next rotation and I can almost guarantee you guys that there's either going to be big 3s or level 4s in here. Some people get confused and leave all the small deer. Say for example you didn't like this zone and you didn't want it to be your main shooter zone, then you could leave these deer, pick up your chet and tripod, and move on to another zone, and this would be considered a shot down zone. And that's exactly what I did with this zone here. These zones are small solos, and these 2 zones here. These are all shot down zones, and I've lowered it from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zones at one lake down to 1 zone at one lake. So my friends, I really do hope that I helped you out today. That is herd management in a nutshell. But anyways, my friends, thank you guys all so much for being here. My name is Squid, this is Squidster. Go ahead, go down there, smash that like button if you guys haven't already. Click that join button to pull up the catalog for the monthly membership. Again, it is only $1.99 a month. And every single penny goes right back into the YouTube channel as we invest it into things like microphones, anything that will literally help improve the quality of the videos. That's where every single penny that you donate to us goes into. Not only are you just donating it to us, there's over 50 different perks that you guys can get in there. Call the Wild related, Discord related, stream related, quite literally anything that you guys can think of. Thank you all so much for being here, and we'll see you later. Peace.